So I'll start with the safe harbor statement. So both the speaker and the host are meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here. This representation is strictly for learning purposes only. Organizer or presenter do not hold any responsibility. The same solution will work for your business requirements. And third one is representing. This representation is not meant for any professional activity, promotional activities. Next slide, please. This recording of the meetup will be uploaded to the event page within 24 hours. So you can go back to the event page and refer to the meetup recording. Any questions you have, feel free to ask in the chat during the presentation. And please make it more interactive. We all are here to learn the topic, and we all are here to I and Shubham will try my best to cover the topic, and also will present that Shubham is going to present the demo how to integrate ChatGPT with using Mulesoft. So that's the main goal, that you all can understand the ChatGPT integration, and based on that you can integrate other ChatGPT use cases following the same solution. So Shubham will help us out in that. Please provide your feedback. Your feedback is guiding us and providing us the guidance, and also your feedbacks are very helpful in organizing the meetups and selecting the topics for the meetups. Helpful. Please feel free to provide your free feedbacks. Next slide, please. Okay, so today's topic is the understanding generative AI, a Mulesoft perspective. So I'll give you the brief of what is. I'll start with the basics. What is generative AI? Understand the prompt engineering, and Shubham will provide the demo for ChatGPT integration. So let's see what is generative AI. So generative AI and the ChatGPT has been introduced from last November. So by now, almost all the technical people who are in the IT field are using using generative AI. There are lots of tools available in the market. Starting with the ChatGPT, there is Bard, there is other tools. Even with the Bing, the chat, it's a ChatGPT integration with the Bing browser. Also with the Google has tools DAL E2 and other generative AI tools available in the market. ChatGPT 4, Alpha Code, GitHub Copilot, Bard, Cloud, and Synthesia, a lot of other AI tools available. So let's understand what is generative AI. So generative AI is a family of deep learning algorithms that can automatically create new content such as text, images, code, voice, and also videos, and also it creates a website automatically. Next slide, please. So now let's see, that was just the summary definition of the generative AI. But generative AI is the advanced version of the AI, I would say, because from AI is the concept of having machine think as human. So basically AI performs tasks for like reasoning, planning, learning, and decision making. So so that is AI. What machine learning is? So machine learning is basically leverages the data to generate predictions. The more data we feed into the machines, the machine learning system, it will better predict the data. So machine learning algorithms, machine learning is basically for predictions based on the data you provide to the systems. On top of that, there is deep learning. So deep learning is much more advanced than the machine learning. So deep learning uses, what is deep learning? It uses the complex algorithms. So it also, those complex algorithms, also known as neural networks, to learn and perform tasks without explicitly programmed step by step instruction. You are not writing any step by step instructions. Based on the algorithm, it will perform the task automatically. So that is deep learning. But generative AI is much more advanced version than the deep learning, because generative AI is a family of deep learning algorithms that can automatically create new content based on the input prompts you provide. Create the new content like text, images, code, voice, even videos. So basically, what generative AI refers to the models or algorithms that create brand new output, such as text, photos, videos, code, also 3D rendering, and the vast amount of data they are trained on. So basically, deep learning, generative AI is the advanced version of deep learning. So there is like very common, very, so nowadays the content, so the coolest example I can give about generative AI is the content generation. The content generation use cases point like point to the chat gpt, jasper chat, or google bard. So all these are generative AI tools, and the most cool example is you can generate various types of contents using these generative AI tools. So like all these, and as per the google, the most used generative AI tools in this last 12 months are GPT-4, chat gpt, alpha code, github pilot, bard, synthesia, and there are lots of other tools available in the market, right? So let's go to the next slide, please. So let's compare the large language models versus the functional models. So basically, deep learning is using the traditional deep learning methods or traditional functional models that has millions of parameters. So and versus generative AI is having the large language models. It has basically large language models compares with the billions of parameters. So whenever you input the prompt, it will parse that request word by word and matches with the billions of parameters which is available in the large language model, and based on that parameters, with the billions of parameters, based on that it will gather the data and generate the output. That's why it's called generative AI. Next slide, please. So there are three contributing factors for the rise of generative AI. So these three contributing factors are the core components of generative AI. Based on these three factors, generative AI, generative AI evolving over the time. So basically, the first factor is the more data, the availability or large amounts of data. Data is the very first factor for generative AI. Based on the data you have provided in the models, based on the data, it will generate the output. So first factor is the more data. Second is better algorithms. better algorithms that are able to exploit or discover patterns in this large amounts of data. So basically, with the large amount of data, you have to like make sure the data is also very qualitative, and based on that particular data you are applying better algorithms. So for generative AI you are applying the large language models. So better algorithms that are able to discover the patterns in this large amount of data. So that is second contributing factor. And third one is the computation power, large amounts of available compute power. So that's why if you observe recently the Nvidia and the other AMD, and those are the Intel, all these chip makers are making the very high quality chips that will be able to process the large amounts of data and do all this computation. That to processing this data and algorithms, the computation power should be available to the system. So so every company is like working on creating more qualitative chips that will be able to process these large volumes of data and the algorithms. So these three are the contributing factors of the generative AI. And with the more computational powers, the system will be more advanced and more powerful, and the systems will be very, I would say, very efficient, and the performance will be really high. The next slide, please. So, just like ChatGPT, we have the Einstein GPT from Salesforce. So, Salesforce Einstein GPT is the generative AI tool for specifically designed for the enterprises. So, basically, Einstein GPT is a very powerful AI tool that combines the public and private AI models with the CRM data. So that allows users to ask natural language prompts directly within the Salesforce CRM. So basically for Einstein GPT, Salesforce CRM is the set of Salesforce CRM provides a set of data, and based on that data, it will by using that data it will generate the output. So that's why it is more specifically designed for the enterprises. So Salesforce Prompt Studio is very much similar to the Chat GPT. When you enter your specific need in the Prompt Studio as a prompt, you will get the output as per your prompt. So let's understand what is prompt engineering, because all these generative AI tools are based on the prompt engineering. So basically you are providing certain input or query or request, and based on your request it will generate the content and generate the output. Next slide, please. So let's see what is the prompt, because Salesforce designed the Einstein GPT. So that is specifically for the organizations, and it generates the AI generated content that is continuously adapted to changing customer information and needs. It based on the it basically it can use your data to data to custom tailor everything it generates to your design. For the input source is the Salesforce CRM. So basically you are giving the prompts. Now what is prompts? So by far everyone has must have used the generative AI tool, any generative AI tool, whether it's a Chat GPT or Einstein GPT in Salesforce, or any Bard or a big or any other generative tool, AI tool, where you give the prompt, where you write a specific request. So basically, the prompt is how you interact with the generative AI. So natural language prompts are the input used to prompt the generated response. So basically, you are giving the instruction in the way you want to generate the output. So as per your instruction or a certain request in the simple language words you have written, the system is generating the response. So let's see some sample prompts. So I if I want to just create an email, then I will say, okay, write a friendly email text when a contact gets converted to an opportunity. Or suppose give me some few slogans for the onboarding campaign for new Salesforce users. Or or I can write simply, okay, okay, AI tool, can you give me any poem written in simple English language, or you can mention any other specific language you want your poem for. And yeah, of course, I mean, write a poem about how Fridays. So yeah, I mean, you can give variety of prompts, and based on the data sets, it will give you the response. Data sets and algorithms. So this is about the what is prompt and what kind of prompts you can give. So mostly the Einstein GPT is mainly focusing on enterprise level. So it will when you enter the prompt in the prompt studio in the Salesforce, when you enter the prompt that okay, write email about to give some particular reply to the customer, it will give give the email text in a response. And then the chat gpt. So what is the difference between chat gpt and the Einstein gpt? So I know Shubham is going to cover more about the chat gpt, but this is just a summary line. Like the chat gpt and Einstein gpt both are the generative AI tools. The difference is chat gpt, the source is internet. So it all the whatever data is available on the internet, it is the source for the chat gpt. And that is the data set for chat gpt, and it the algorithms the large language models applied to the on that particular data. So the data source is very vast. Compared to Einstein GPT, they were the Salesforce CRM is the data source. So it will generate the and the enterprise data. So the based on the enterprise data, it will generate the response. So say Einstein GPT is basically designed for the enterprise level, and this chat gpt is a general purpose generative AI tool. So that is the current eventually, I mean, it will be the more advanced versions will come, but this is just a summary of the generative AI tools. So now I would like the next slide please. So there in the Trailblazer there are some fantastic AI courses that gives the lot of information about the AI, artificial intelligence fundamentals. There is a AI skills quest is a course available. There is a course available for the generative AI. So I would highly suggest to go to the Trailblazer and uh, attend the courses. It's really provides the great information there. And now I'll hand it over to the Shubham for the Chat GPT about the Chat GPT, so the demo. for the ChatGPT integration.
Thank you, Sonali. Okay, so we will start with ChatGPT. So, is there anyone like who doesn't know about ChatGPT? If you can write yes in the chat or no. So, okay, is there anyone like who hasn't used ChatGPT so far? I guess not. Okay, so before we start with the demo, like how we can integrate like chat gpt with our with mulesoft. So basically I mean, so far we have been using chat gpt by visiting to the, like for example, chat.openai.com. So the ui that is there. Okay, rate limited. Okay, let's try open here. Okay, I guess this is available temporary state. Yeah, so basically when we are kind of this is a temporary state. I guess we are getting the limitation error because several users are trying, and so that's when we use a trial account, we generally get that error. Okay, so let's try for sending a request. Let me verify if like this is a temporary condition for everyone, or is it for like even for premium users. Okay, let's say send this request. mm, okay, let me send this request. I think this one will work fine. Send. Okay, so it's working fine from here only. So let's open the ppt. So by far, I would say like you have been using ChatGPT using this UI screen, right, where we enter our prompt and we get the response. Okay, and even we get the history. So this is the way that we are using now. Suppose we want to integrate with mulesoft, right? I mean, you want to, let's say, if a certain activity occurs or a certain event occurs, we want to get that information and pass that into chat gpt api and get the response from chat gpt. So in that case we will need to integrate with mulesoft, right, using the openai chat gpt apis, right? So restart 1 second. All right. Yeah, so in that case, we can integrate mulesoft with the chat gpt apis, and we can based on any activity or event, we can basically send that response to the chat gpt api and get the response from that. Okay, so let's start from here. Like we just quickly go over the introduction of chat gpt, that it is a language natural language processing model. Okay, it's based on generative ai. As you can see, gpt stands for generative pre-trained transformer. Okay, and it has the ability to generate responses that is in context to the conversation. Okay, like for example, if we type like who is Elon, then he knows it knows kind of knows the context that we are talking about the person Elon Musk. Okay, and it can do a lot of activities, not just answer our quick queries. Like it can even do language translation, text summarization. Let's say we give it a paragraph and it can summarize it for us as well. Okay, just give me a second. All right. So yeah, that's about this. Now, there is a like two versions of ChatGPT that are available. Like it's a normal one. Like when we open like chat.openai.com and create a trial account kind of. So that's a normal version, and then there is a ChatGPT Plus version. Okay. So what are the differences? If you go to the UI, you can see here, like you get the option of upgrade to plus, right? So that plus version is this one, like which we have to pay $20 per month. So you can see like I tried to access like using a free plan. So there was a like error we got. Okay, and it sometimes you can see that available, it is only available when the demand is low. Okay, and standard response speed and regular model updates. But with ChatGPT plus we get access to a like faster response, and even when the demand is high, we will get the response. Okay, so earlier, like I think 2 3 months back, we when we create a free account, okay, we were able to use the chat gpt api. But now, uh, even you cannot call chat gpt apis with the free plan. So you need to have a, a plus account to even use the chat gpt apis, okay. So be careful of that. If you get those errors, that's because they have made it, like they have stopped the free version for ChatGPT APIs. Okay, and with ChatGPT Plus, you can access to ChatGPT 4. Okay, these are the models. Okay, so for example, 3.5, you can see the difference. Like ChatGPT 4 is trained on a larger corpus of text data. Okay, for example, it has been trained on more recent and larger data set. Okay, you can see even larger and more diverse data set, so it gives a proper response to the conversation. Okay, and that's all about the differences. You can see it uses a like more number of parameters to respond to our queries. Okay, and even if you have heard of like ChatGPT 4 even responds to the accepts basically image as well as input. Okay, for now, like if you are using free version, that is using 3.5 version of the model, it only accepts text as an input. But with ChatGPT 4 model, you can even provide text, I mean image as an input. Okay, you can see that accepts images as part of prompt. So there are some limitations, again, like it is a resource intensive, so that's why they don't provide they keep a limitation on free versions. Okay, and it is not all, it doesn't always provide accurate answers. That is you need to take care of when you are designing your like a use case scenario. Okay, so let's talk about now chat gpt platform apis. Okay, so where do we have to start? Okay, so first you have to land on this page. Okay, platform.openai.com. Okay, so let's say I logged in here. So you need to log in. Basically, if you don't have an account, you create an account. Okay, and after that you will land on this page. Okay, let's say I'll just pass this here. Okay, now after login you will see these options. You can do a lot of activity like image generation and speech to text translation, right? So all these activities. Now to use the chat gpt api, you need to have a api key, right, for authentication. So you can create a secret key by visiting like this and view api keys, and here you can generate a secret your use case. Like even let's say you are using different environments, production, development, so you can create a different secret key for different environments as well by naming them like production key, test key, development key. Okay, and yeah, so this is that. Okay, after you copy this key, this will not be visible. Like you can see that I cannot see it again, so properly save it somewhere so that you don't lose it. Okay, and let's start. Like we what do we need to do? We need to refer to, let's say, api reference. Okay, so now we need to use the api. Okay, let's call one of the endpoints. So these are the endpoints we have. Okay, you can see chat endpoint, we have completions endpoint. Okay, files, images, models. So these are respective things. Like you can use it to ask ChatGPT like a question or a query. Images, you can ask ChatGPT to create an image. Okay, models, there is a models endpoint which will give you the models available in this ChatGPT. For example, let me show you. So this is the endpoints models. Okay, if I call this, you will get this response, the models. Okay, like you can see there's one model GPT-4. Okay, then there is the Da Vinci model. Okay, and these are all different models. You can see there are a lot of models. Okay, so in case whatever model you want to use, you can call this api endpoint. Okay, now you can see that we get the api key, right? How do we authorize it? So we have to pass this in authorization http header. Okay, with the bearer and open api key. So you can see if I go here and go to headers section. Okay, you can see like I have passed authorization as header key in the header section, authorization as key, and bearer plus API key that we got as I mean key value. Okay, so this is the value we have to provide, and we will be able to get the response. Okay, now Let's talk about completions and endpoint. Okay, you can see given a prompt, the model will return one or more predicted completions. Okay, so let's say it we ask something. Okay, so it will give the response based on that. Okay, so let's try this out ourselves. Okay, let me see if we have input here. Okay, chat. Okay, so this is the chat endpoint. Okay, completions. One second. This is the model slash chat. Okay, we can do that. Like we can just replace this value post instead of image. We need to call chat. Okay, see body we need to pass instead of this body. This is the body that is for image generation. Okay, just reference. Now you can see we are doing this everything in Postman. We will replicate the same thing in Anypoint Studio just for understanding like how we need to configure each value in Anypoint platform in Studio. Okay, Mulesoft Anypoint Studio. So you can see in header we have passed authorization. In the body you can see what value do we need to pass. We need to pass the request. Yeah, it is here. No, this is not the one. Yeah, you can see this is the body that we need to pass here. We'll copy this. Okay. And you can even see the endpoint here. One second, going back. So slash v1 slash chat slash completions. Okay, so slash chat slash completions. Okay, and now I will pass the body here. It's in the message. Okay, you see it responded with the content like hello, hi, can assist you today, because we passed like the role system, and we passed like you are helpful. We told the system like you are a helpful assistant, and then in the next um, prompt we asked like hello. So this is how it responded. Let's say we directly need to ask a question, we will just pass that question here. Like we need to ask like who is let's say Steve Jobs. Okay, so we just pass the question here in the body in the content part, and it will respond with the answer. Okay, you can see it respond in the content. All right, and you can similarly even generate an image. Okay, so I will just remove this and pass this body. So instead of we use let's say we want to get a cat image. Okay, image of a cat. Okay, we can write this in any way, like let's say generate image of a cat. Okay, and for example is a like number of different images you want. Like let's say we want two images. Okay, different images. So this is what we are passing. Let's say we want one image, then we can pass one here, and the size, so the resolution in which you want the image. Okay, so if I send this request, we will get the URL to the image's location. Okay, you can see this is the image URL we received, and if I hit this endpoint, okay, this will produce the image. This will give the image to us. It is loading. Yeah, you can see the images here in the 1024 resolution which we provided. Okay, we can change the resolution. And now let's see in the studio like how will we call this in the studio. Okay, so there are two options by which you can integrate ChatGPT with MuleSoft. Okay, there is this API that we are using, right? This endpoint API. Now let's say we want to have a connector for that. Okay, so we can even create a connector for this as well. Okay, ChatGPT connector. So there is already one like person who has already created a connector, so we will make use of that, because you can always create your own custom connector. Okay, with by using these APIs, the API endpoints. Okay, so I'll just show you one blog, okay, that I have wrote. You can take reference from that, okay. um so before that, I'll share that in the chat. Okay, let it load. So you can see that this is the step for integrating with this is the one where I have integrated with ChatGPT API, okay. So you can see where and which values we have to configure. Okay, and now you can see the OpenAI connector. So there is a connector available that is for integrating with ChatGPT. Okay, so you can basically, you have to follow a number of steps. Okay, so first you need to download the code from this repo. Okay, so this is the repo that will open, and after that you clone it and you run this command where it is down basically cloned, okay, in the CMD, and which will basically, what it will do, it will download the connector in your local repository, that m2, okay, .m2. So what you will do, you will clone it from here, okay, clone it and then run that command by passing these value, okay, like ambient clean install. And so you may get this response like http repositories blocked error. So what you need to do, you need to add this piece of code, okay, in your settings.xml file in your maven, okay. Now, I will show you, like, if all these steps you run successfully, you can see this is the connector that will show up, OpenAI connector. Okay, and you can perform all these activities. Basically, it is the same endpoints that we are using, but it has provided a connector, so it makes us easy, right? We don't have to configure the request HTTP request again and again. So it just gives us a better view. Okay, yeah, you can see that configuration is there, we need to provide again, okay. So what do you need to provide? You need to provide an API key here, and the timeout you can provide, okay. And if you click test connection to verify that, yeah, your provided key is working, so it will give test connection successful, okay. Okay, you can see the test connection was successful. So this is the API key that we generated in the at the start, right? So that, take it carefully and store it somewhere so that you can use it. Now you can see this is a simple flows that I have created, okay. So before the connector, we want to discuss about the API, right? Let's say where it is, chat gpt API, okay. So let's say you don't want to use a connector, and instead of work on the we using the API only. So how you will configure, use an HTTP request to call the chat gpt API, okay. So let's say you want to use call this endpoint, okay, slash chat completion. So you will pass the path here in the configurations, HTTP request configuration. You will pass the host api.openai, and protocol is HTTPS, okay. What else? Settings. In the settings, you have to check the header to, instead of none, you are passing the header, okay. So you add this header, key is authorization, value is bearer, and your API key, okay. So this is the configuration for for HTTP request configuration. Okay, now you have to provide an endpoint. Let's say you we want to use the chat endpoint, so we'll provide the chat endpoint. And let's say we want to generate an image. Okay, then you will use the image endpoint, slash image slash generation. So those endpoints you have to configure based on your requirement. Okay, and now what we are doing, we are passing the body from input only, okay. So let's say you have designed some system, okay. You can hard code it, or you can even like change some values. For example, this is the body, okay. Yeah, so this is the body that you need to provide. Here you can see you need to provide a model, and then in the messages you will provide a role. So there are three roles: system, user, and assistant, okay. And again there is a content, okay. So here you need to provide your prompt, okay, right? What do you require to ask from ChatGPT model. Let's say we run this application, okay. So after this, like quickly, I will go to connector, just review, and then I will show you a use case that which I have developed using ChatGPT API. Okay, so as you can see, this is just a simple request we are doing. This is because this is like we are creating a we are just teaching you a fundamental, okay, like how you need to use the use cases. It can be anything, okay, like what I will be showing you, like integration of MuleSoft with chat gpt and WhatsApp, okay. And there is another use case which you can think of, like MuleSoft integration with chat gpt and Slack. So what you can do there, like you can create a channel where you will ask questions in the Slack, and it will call the ChatGPT endpoint in the back end, and it will respond directly in the chat. You don't need to go to like in the browser and then type chat.openai and log in and then ask the question. So this will be better if you integrate, right? Try to do the automation. So let's say you can see the application is deployed. I will pass the endpoint. I'll call the endpoint, okay, localhost slash endpoint slash chat. You can see I have provided slash chat endpoint, and let's send the response. Write a poem on MuleSoft in funny way. That is the prompt that we have asked. Let's see the response. You can see that it responded with the with our query, okay. Like it's responded with a poem, okay. So this is how you can create like send request and integrate with MuleSoft. Okay. Okay. Now this is the part that I covered. Now let's quickly move over to OpenAI connector. Okay. So as I mentioned, you need to follow a sequence of steps to make the basically this connector available in your palette. Okay. So after that, when you run that command ambient clean install, okay, you will find the you will basically it will download the connector in your m2 repository. Okay, now it is there. How will you like make it appear here? Okay, so you need to add that dependency. So how you will do that? You will add the dependency in pom. Okay, if I go to pom, you will see I have added that dependency. You can see this is the dependency that you need to add. I have provided that in the blog as well, that you need to add this dependency in your pom.xml. Okay, so when you add this, it will the connector will appear here, and you can use the service whichever you want to use, like the chat one, the image one, create image URL, okay, even create image file. So these are the two facilities here. Like you can either create a URL or you can even get the file directly. Okay, so let's say, okay, so this is now you can again, this is I will we have created this here, okay, in the local. You can deploy, okay, in the cloud hub, and that it will make it available for everyone, right, in the when it is in the cloud. So if I show you, like I have deployed in the cloud, okay, so this is the endpoint chat gpt API, and I will send this request. Now let's change the GPT model to 4. Okay, I think this is the correct format for the model. And I will write, let's say, can you write a data weave code? No, instead of, I'll write an article. So I will write 300 words. Okay, so it will respond with 300 words only. By using ChatGPT 4, it gives us advantage to like a faster response speed and to more accurate information as well. Okay, so this is the model that is trained better. You can see we got this timeout exceeded. Okay, so this errors occurs whenever we try to send sometimes with Mulesoft. Okay, so if I will use this directly in the API, okay, let's say where is the input? Let's send it here. So you need to design your when you are designing your integration in such a way, like it will handle these errors. Like sometimes it can throw 5 and timeout exceeded errors. Okay, because let's say sometimes the systems seems down, so that's why you need to be careful for that. Okay, it is taking a lot of time. Let me log in and verify. Okay, I have deployed, so anypoint.com. Okay. Okay, so what we are talking, like why we need to deploy these applications to cloud up. Okay, so let's say you are designing your use case. Okay, so let's say I have like for example I have designed like integration of MuleSoft with ChatGPT and WhatsApp. So in that case, I need the API to be available in the cloud, right? Either I can also call this endpoints directly, or I can design a system layer kind of, right? Like OpenAI system layer. So where we will have all these endpoints and we can directly call the cloud hub API. So that will make like it will make this API available to everyone. Okay, let's say you have a big organization and you can create this system API, ChatGPT system API, and everyone can make use of there. Okay, so that is one of the examples where you can use. Okay, you can see that it responded finally, and you can see it responded with 300 words of like of the question we asked, like article on MuleSoft. Okay, right. So now let's talk about. I will show you the use case. Okay, one second. Give me one second. Yeah. So what I will do, I will show you. Okay. First, I will stop sharing. So, Nali, can you do one thing, like provide the share screen access to this user? Say Ashish. Okay. Is it? Can you
Sure.
do that?
Yeah, I can do that. Ashish. Okay, sure. Oh, she see.
Okay. Let me see if this lost. Okay, I have shared. Stop sharing. Different browser. Okay, I think I will not use it here. Okay. Let me try opening WhatsApp here. Okay. Okay. Let me generate one. Google Meeting. So what I'm showing is my chat. I mean WhatsApp. So there you will see like how I am making use of ChatGPT integration. Okay. So meet.google.com.
Shubham, your screen is not visible.
Yeah, yeah. Just give me a minute.
Yeah,
Starting
sure.
this meeting. Okay. One second. Google Meet. Okay. Create a new meeting. Yes. Okay, let's see if okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, um, let's see how it goes. Okay, so this is visible, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay, you can see what I have done. I will show you like a use case of this integration. Okay, chat gpt integration. So what we are doing is, I will show you first an article. Okay, so let's go to that article. um, Okay, so what we are doing here, basically, when instead of like going to chat gpt like ui and passing and login, then asking questions. Okay, if what if we can directly ask question in our chat, in our whatsapp. Okay, because let's say we are using whatsapp, and we there's a question arises in our mind. Okay, and we need to ask directly from ChatGPT. So what we, if we can quickly ask in the chat only, then we will quickly get the response, and instead of logging and asking the question and going to the ui, it is better, right? So this is what we have done in this use case. Okay, so you can, if you want to design this, you can follow these principle, because it will require the knowledge of whatsapp integration as well in this use case. So you can follow this use case I have designed. Now I'll show you how it looks like. For example, this is the number. Okay, and I am asking the question, and I will get the response. Okay, so I'll directly show in here only. Okay, so if I go to whatsapp, and you can see, if I go here. Okay, not here, here only. Okay, so you can see, if I ask like, who is Elon Musk. Okay,
Hey Shubham, you are on mute. I think Shubham will be back very soon. Let's wait for a couple more minutes. He was about to show the WhatsApp integration with the in the Chat GPT. So let's wait for a couple more minutes. He'll be back soon.